Welcome into the Bite Me podcast. Merry Christmas to all. We got three jolly guys, jolly old fellas, right in front of us here for the Bite Me podcast. I'm John Lopez. We have jolly Captain Dean Thomas, jolly Captain Caleb McCumber, and holly jolly Captain Scott Null. Happy birthday to Captain Scott Null. How about that? He was born 3 days before Jesus. That came out wrong. Hold on. Hold on. That came out.
I've been telling you.
That came out really bad. As soon as the words were coming out of my mouth, I knew Caleb was going to say something, but his birthday is 3 days before Christmas. That's better. So happy birthday to Captain Scott. Had some German chocolate cake yesterday, I understand, which was always my go-to for my birthday. But yeah, hope everybody on the podcast, everybody listening, has a really, really good one with family, friends, and a lot of food, a lot of presents. That might be part of our rundown today. But, of course, want to remind you to subscribe to the podcast. Give yourself the gift of the podcast, the Bite Me podcast, by going anywhere. Anywhere there's a podcast, you can sign up, get the alerts. We always recommend Podbean because you can get every podcast we've ever done. On YouTube as well. YouTube Live, we're recording on Tuesday at 3:30. We never miss a week. And it's going to be posted on the all podcast platforms by about 6 p.m. Tonight. And no guarantees how the editing is going to go, because I will start partaking here pretty soon myself in some holiday cheer, because I'm off for quite a while right now. But let's get into it. It's that wonderful time of the year, man. I just talked about it. It's a wonderful time of the year when people have a lot of time on their hands, some drinks in their hands, and they go to our Facebook group page and cause all kinds of trouble because they don't have anything else to do. So we'll start there because it's just funny. And by the way, I think it was all in good fun. It seemed like it was all in good fun.
It always is.
Yeah. Let's talk about Mr. Grinch, which, depending on your perspective, could be Captain Dean, could be someone on the group page. Who knows about that? The speckless trout. And other fish anomalies. And that's where I wanted to go with it. Anytime something like this happens, I was like, oh, there's probably a topic in there somewhere. And lo and behold, there is. So a couple.
And there's going to be plenty more of that downtime with the Real Housewives of Aransas Pass. They're fixing to crank it up hardcore.
What's going on?
Well, it's just the drama time of year. Whenever people are sitting in front of their computer, they're not fishing as much or not out as much, and controversy just seems to brew. It's hard to explain how a couple of simple little something that means absolutely nothing can get blown out of proportion in such a short time.
I think it was kind of unwarranted. I think the comment that got everybody going, the delivery just wasn't there. It really is what I know the dude personally. It's way easier to talk to him in person than it is to read his comments. And I sent him a text this morning. I'm like, listen, because one of the things he said on there was like, yeah, they love me in this group. And I was like, man, it's your delivery, dude. Like, let's just shape our words a little better. Because
I agree. I totally agree with the delivery, because when you make like a short little snarky remark without explanation to go with it, it's kind of how it's perceived. And look, I enjoy a high-spirited debate as much as anybody else.
We've picked up on that.
No personal issues with anybody. Enjoy it. I mean, I love it.
Well, let's lay it out before we keep digging in on this, because some people listening to the podcast, across the country may not know what the hell we're talking about. They can join the Facebook group page and see it for themselves. Highly recommend you do that as well. But there was, I guess it wasn't him. There was a listener that posted a picture of a speckled trout that didn't have any specks.
Well, that was me with the first.
Oh, that was you. Okay, that was you. I remember.
Dean doesn't listen.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, I remember now. You said kind of a rarity or whatever you said. I guess one of your clients caught a speckled trout that didn't have any specks. Correct?
I didn't even call it a rarity. I just posted a picture of. I said it's not that common.
Yeah,
to have a speckled trout and it was just. Its body had no specks, but the fins had specks on it. I just thought it was interesting and put it on there. And then Of course, there were several. Well, there was a couple that went on about how common it is, and I mean, through the course of the year, I see a lot of speckled trout, and it doesn't happen in my neighborhood that often. And then we got into the biology of what they eat, their
As
stock.
we always do.
It got so deep. The response was actually it's common. And if you listen to the show much, when Dean uses the term it's interesting, that's Dean's way of saying this is cool, I want to talk about it. It may not even be particularly interesting. That's just his little phrase. And the guy, the fella responded with actually it's common. Well,
actually, let me tell you about fishing.
It's a trigger. Actually, it's a trigger word.
Yes, it is.
If the response would have been it's really common up here, is like totally non-issue. It's all delivery, and it is common up here. You see it, and over the course of the week, I'll probably catch 2 or 3 like that if I was out drifting for trout. But down where Dean's at, in that clear water and that grass, those trout have green on them. They always seem to have more spots. They're way more marked up and spectacular down there. I mean, I don't know how common or uncommon it is down there, but I went on a little mission because I've got all kinds of pictures of trout from like Bappin and all that, and I thought I'd caught a big one with no spots, but they had spots on them. Long story short, it's just a delivery thing. If you're gonna say something that is contradictory to somebody else's statement and you only use 3 words, you're probably putting yourself in danger in that statement.
Well, the age of social media interaction is it kind of creates the potential for controversy because you're having 1-sentence conversations back and forth.
You can't hear tone.
Exactly. And if you're having like a regular conversation debate, you have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 sentences and a follow-up thought to go with it. When you're just putting, 1 sentence, 1 short thing back and forth, there's a lot of room for misinterpretation.
So Scott, go ahead.
While we have a captive audience, the Bite Me page isn't the place to disparage other organizations or companies, or like it's happened before, but when it's happened, it's been well warranted. Like, something's happened and man, the support and everything for Bite Me and all that stuff is great, and we love it and couldn't appreciate it more. But as a business, as the 4 of us sitting here, when another company looks at our page and there's stuff that's degrading what they're working on, it makes us as the leaders, it puts us in a tough situation. And people need to understand that we do business with all these other people. It's like the whole rod builder wars back in the 2000s, where everybody thought that if you were Laguna, you hated that the owners of Laguna hated Sarge, and Sarge hated Waterloo, and Waterloo hated Laguna. We all do business together, folks.
Yeah,
and that was how that got contagious, because as soon as there was a couple snarky remarks made, then the faucet's open. Then here they come.
We have an army, and I love our army. It's a hell of an army to be the commander of. It just sometimes, guys, let's don't get in bar fights. Let's stay in the ranks until we're needed.
So I don't want to be in no army where Caleb is the commander. First of all,
why not? But okay, so Scott, it did prompt me. Like I said, there is a topic in here, and it did prompt me to do something, and that is actually research upper coast, lower coast, middle coast, lower coast, regarding trout that don't have specks. I'm gonna let you talk about it because I'm sure you already know this. It is more common the further north you get, correct? And just some of the anomalies that you've seen with that.
I've seen a handful of them. I wouldn't say it's common.
Well, more common. Yeah, more common.
Yeah, I mean,
here we go again.
It happens. It's just...
God dang it, we almost put this to bed, Scott. Play along, dude. It's close.
Scott just said, well, actually.
I feel being as how they came up together, I feel like Jesus may not have found himself in that situation until Scott came up and it worked.
But no, and so this is, by the way, this is another reason why I've believed for the last 10, 12 years, we really need a sarcasm font. A font that is universally, known as that he's being sarcastic. He's trying to be funny or something. And I don't know what that font would be. but we really need a sarcasm font.
You look at the sentence in the post and then look straight above it. If it says Dean Thomas, it's probably sarcasm font.
I'm going to start putting "bless your heart" at the end of it when I'm sarcastic.
That's not going to help.
But Chief.
Yeah, cowboy. but to Caleb's point, one thing I am really, really proud about with the Bite Me group page is I always call it a community because it's become that, and we do kind of keep away from all that stuff. But I thought this was funny, and I think the person involved, had the right, ultimately had the right, attitude about it all. But let's talk about some anomalies. Let's talk about some of those things. Dean, it's not real common, sorry, but it's not real common down where we fish. And you caught this fish. I mean, what else have you seen? The one that just completely jumps out to mind for me, at least twice, maybe 3 times, I've caught flounder with an eye on each side of the head. You know how they rotate after they're born and all that, and sometimes they don't. And I've caught at least 2 or 3 times and now that's an anomaly. That's something you just don't see very often. You guys, Scott, I'll start with you because you need to weigh in on everything here. But what are some of the things that you've come across?
There was Dean knows. So Jeff Sipes, him and his wife were fishing with me in Galveston, and we're poling the backwaters. We had a great day. It was his wife's birthday trip, having a great day, and she's on the bow, and I look down. There's 4 or 5 dark shapes coming at me, and then one really, really light colored shape. And the water's super clear, wintertime. And as it's coming along there, I was like, what the hell is swimming with those redfish? It was a white redfish. I mean,
wow.
It was a white redfish. Jeff saw it. I saw it. She cast to it, and she caught one of the other fish that was with it and just missed it. But I went back out there the next day. I wasn't guiding the next day, and I went and staked out over there in that area and just waited. I passed, I don't know how many redfish waiting because I knew if I threw at one, I hooked up, that white one was going to swim out.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to catch that white redfish. I mean, there was no doubt it was a white redfish. I mean,
so earlier in the summer on the cleaning table at the marina, amongst all of the hardheads that come in and eat the carcasses and the fish guts that are getting tossed in, there was a solid white hardhead mixed in. And I don't know if I've seen John Cargness up here today, because I think he's the one that gave me the scientific term for that. And I have never seen one in a redfish, but I mean, if it happens in hardheads and there's natural variations, that'd be interesting to know if that, wish I could remember the technical term for that. But melanistic, I've heard that referred to in deer, but never fish. But I mean, yeah, that's a cool one. So John, which side was the flounder swimming on that had his eye on the other side?
I can't remember. I mean, because I caught it.
Was he right side up?
He had one eye closed. It didn't get any sand in it. He has a patch. Had an eye patch. That would have been sweet. Catch a flounder with a little eye patch. No, I've done that at least 2. Have y'all ever done that? I've caught at least 2 or 3 that had an eye on each side of their head.
Never seen that.
It was the
only anomaly I have to report is I caught a flounder once. Seemed pretty normal, but it was an anomaly. Target says alabaster.
Alabaster. That's the color.
An alabaster white cow nose ray approached me in Christmas Bay.
Yeah.
Leucistic.
I think that's it. I think that's the term. I think the leucistic is it. But I don't know if there's anything else. But a lot of times on offshore fishing, you'll see some like weird stuff. I don't know why. It just seems like it pops up.
It was an albino sailfish caught last year.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Pretty wild.
And so the term is albinism. It refers to its melanin. It's a gene mutation that lacks melanin and resulting in reduced pigment in the skin.
Okay, so it's almost like a.
So it just without color.
Back to the earlier conversation about sort of passive aggressive things people say. Perry Bauman said, per my last email. In other words, I've told you this already. Why don't you pay attention? Per my last email. All right. So moving right along here on this Christmas edition of the Bite Me podcast. Appreciate everybody joining us here live. So this came up on my day job radio show. I was listening to the show before ours, and Mark Vandermeer asked D'Amico Ryans about what childhood toy he would bring back if he could. And I think D'Amico said Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which was a great answer. I loved Rock'em Sock'em Robots and some other things. But I wanted to ask you guys, what early fishing toy, if you could, you'd bring back and have another go with it, and play with it a little bit. Mine was, I've talked about it here in the past, the Pen number 9 reel. I just used that like crazy. And the old, y'all remember the Shakespeare Classic, the little chrome reel with the 2 white handles? Man, I love that old Shakespeare Classic. It might have had another name. I always called it the Classic. But what are some early toys, fishing toys you'd like to bring back, Scott?
The original Rebel jumping minnow.
The Rebel jumping minnow?
Yep. Give me that one. The original one, not that BS that they came out with after they.
Why is that?
The first one. The first one was perfect. I mean, it walked the dog so easy, and it was just a great lure. That was our first real walking the dog lure that we had for saltwater. And then the mold kind of wore out, and Rebel, the only place they were selling it was the Texas coast. And when they needed a new mold, they just did away with it. And there was
we're done.
Yeah, there was such an outcry that they said, okay, we'll make one. And they made a new mold, and the new one sucked. It was terrible. That opened the door for every other, like the
top water,
the spooks, and the mirror lure top waters and all that. It opened the door for everybody because they own the whole entire market for saltwater top waters.
The one thing I would like would be that big styrofoam hat with all the lures stuck in.
You've talked about that recently. We got to get you one of those. Too late for Christmas.
I don't know if they're sold anywhere still.
Yeah, there was a guy that got a hold of me, and he found them. And I think you had to buy like 2 dozen of them. Was the only way you could get them. And so he bought a whole bunch of them. He said he had one set aside for me.
Caleb?
I don't think there's a single thing I want back. I like new technology. I like the new stuff that's out. But what would be cool, we have access to pretty much anything we want these days. And you just get it in the mail and like, okay, cool, I'm taking this and going to work with it. I would like to have the excitement back of when you were just getting into fishing and walking down the lure aisle and, man, this could be awesome and that could be awesome, and a little bit of kind of a little bit of mysterious of what is this and what is that, and then you get your whatever your trout tamer from Academy, and you got your Sitica that was the size of a microwave, but you thought it was awesome because it was the new shape, it wasn't round anymore, and then you go get you those dang the Lone Star, I think it's Lone Star tackle, like the twin tail little fat just the idea of walking into Academy or wherever with just the sky's the limit of what am I going to get today? This is going to make the difference and be the big break, and I'm going to catch my first big fish and all that. That's where I'm at with it.
That's a good one, because I'm as excited as ever just catching fish. The fishing part has never changed, but nowadays when I do go to the store or the tackle shop or whatever, it's more I need rather than, hey, let's see what they got. You know what I mean? Like, I got to pick up this and I got to pick up that, rather than, oh, well, let me see what this might be about. I'll try that. I occasionally you do it, but it is different. But Dean, what would you bring back your fishing toy if you could from the old days?
Man, the only thing that really that rings a bell from that era, of course, the little Shakespeare reels and those and that, and I've talked about it before, was the original Daiwa Procaster, which was, I'm sure it got famous in the bass world, but it worked its way into the into the saltwater fishing world. And I remember I bought it at Oshman's at Northline Mall. If anybody, you want to go way back in the day, man.
Oshman's, baby.
Yeah. And I remember, I think that was probably one of the happiest days of my life. I saved up whatever $25 that I could scrounge. And man, I walked out of there happier than any Christmas morning I ever woke up to.
What are you guys going to do for Christmas? I'm sure our listeners are curious.
I'm going to go to Pat's Ranch and see if I can't get us all kicked off of it, even though he owns it.
Oh, man. I haven't been there in forever. I saw Pat's dad, Tommy, yesterday. I was out in Kingwood and talked to him, and I think he said he was going to go to the ranch, so he might be there too. He'll be the one that kicks you off.
Oh, me and Cade went this morning, and we determined we're shooting with some match shooters this morning on the range, and we determined that Cade is a much better shot than I am. But we have his freedom seeds dialed in to tick Tom off in some way this week.
Yeah, he's my guy. Scott, I'm guessing you got grandkids. You're gonna stay there?
Yeah, we're just hanging out here. Got grandkids running all over the place.
Yeah, and Dean, you're in Houston now. I can tell.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I have expressed my dissatisfaction with the holiday season because it interrupts. So all I'm doing is burning up the highway. Love to see these guys. I wish it wasn't in the middle of deer season, and the best fishing of the year, and everything's house. But yes, here, my dad's house, family here, headed up to Huntsville tomorrow. Back here, then somewhere else, man.
And the crazies are out, man. I mean, the crazies are the line to HEB when I was driving back from the station was a block long to get into the parking lot.
You ought to see the parking lot at Specs.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man,
it's the worst. It's the
and this is right across
the
the
street.
street.
Facebook post started,
and this is how it starts.
Yes.
This is how it starts. So Dean, but you are going to be back in AP for Christmas. After Christmas?
I'm going after 26 back in AP for a couple of days. Hopefully visit with you, Fish, and then back to the ranch for New Year's. And it just don't end, man. All I want to do is go home and sleep in my own bed for 2 or 3 days in a row. But we got deer business, fishing business, family.
I do have to find a filter. Scott just texted. I do have to find a filter to put a Grinch face on Captain Dean.
Look, if we move Christmas, I mean Thanksgiving to August, Christmas to September, problem solved.
All right, we do have some topics. Happy Christmas. We do have some topics to get to, but I completely forgot to ask you guys where you were this week and anything jump out at you in terms of what's happening out on the water these days. Dean, I think you were out on the water.
I fished 2 days in between, and they were very interesting. Interesting. I got to quit using that because it's going to be misinterpreted.
I get you.
The first day when I came home and fished, had a couple folks with me that it was their one day and they had a little window of opportunity. They were here, so they really wanted to go for it. Fog, it was so foggy, and we had this conversation about the fog and all of the advice that we gave ourselves. I was kind of revisiting that.
Yeah,
I cranked up my boat at the marina and I idled from my boat slip all the way to Ransom Flats. It was so foggy, I could not get up on step. I didn't want to take a chance on not being able to hear what was around me.
Yeah,
but idled about 40 minutes to get to the first available flats just so we could take a shot at fishing. Saw fish until about 10 o'clock. But that day was tough, man. We just could not get them to bite. You could see them cruising, but with the fog, you were almost on top of them before you could see anything. I mean, the fog was so thick, you couldn't see your lure hit the water on a long cast. It was thick. Fished until about 10 o'clock. The fog lifted, and I was like, all right. Cranked it up, ran to the other side of the flats. Within 30 minutes, it rolled back in thicker than it was, and it stayed thick all day. That day was crazy, man. Didn't see fit, or we saw them, could not get them to catch. I finally went out to off the edge of the flats, fishing in like 4 feet of water, and we belted out with some speckled trout. I mean, we hit one cool spot, and we were hooking doubles, and it was just a nice little nest of trout. Nothing big, but great for some action. Which on a tough day,
Yeah.
Any fish is a great fish. So we bailed that one out. The next day, it was foggy earlier, but it burned off in a couple hours. Pulled up to some guts, little drains on the edge of the flats, and pushed up just far enough to where you could fish up on the flats and sitting on the edge. And we just had redfish cruising. Not all easy to hit, but within one day, it was like you were on another planet. They had a whole new attitude. They were feeding. They were chasing stuff. It was just noisy. You could hear mullet jumping out on the horizon. And the second day, it just turned on. And, I'm sitting there, I was kind of evaluating that. I was like, man, is it just where we were at? Was it the location? Why were these fish so active just a few miles away and compared to, because the second day, man, I had like zero anticipation. I was like, man, from what happened yesterday, I was like, this is going to be rough. And then they were in a much better mood 24 hours later.
Yeah. Scott?
Low tides, warm water. I mean, it's like early fall around here still, or spring. I don't know which one it is. We're kind of in the middle. But water temperatures are 73, 74 degrees. Lows overnight are 70. And there's no change on the horizon from what I'm looking at. I mean, it's all the way out till next Monday before we have a north wind. But the super low tides have all the fish pulled out on the flats. When there's enough water to get there, it was a negative 0.5 this morning. So yeah, it got to a point where they were on the drop offs instead of up on the flats. But as soon as that water comes back in, it's plenty warm enough, and bait's skipping all over the place. There's shrimp around. Awful late to have a bunch of shrimp in the bay, but they're around. Every time you see a redfish moving, there's shrimp jumping around.
So I've been accused of jinxing things on this podcast, although I think I've only jinxed one thing, if I remember correctly. And it was last year about this time when we were talking about, I think we had kind of an Indian summer last year too, or maybe it was the year before. Either way. So what if it never really gets that big?
Don't do that. Here he goes.
I mean, we're bearing.
Okay, everybody, go out, wrap your pipes. Go get your insulation before they run out.
You didn't even hear me finish the question.
Oh, we know where it's going.
The guy who makes a living inside is talking to three guys who make livings outside.
You don't have to say no more, fam.
We're bearing down on January. Then you get into the big cold front. I know we're going to get at least one or two in February. The question though is, what if we never get that super cold, that super cold prolonged, and the water temperatures kind of stay cooler? I mean, warmer than usual. Scott, what awesome. If? What's that going to mean?
Awesome. I'll take it.
It don't matter now.
Ain't gonna happen. Nah, I mean, it always gets, every year we go through the same thing. There's going to be some cold fronts. It's going to drop the temperatures down in the water temps down in the 40s or 50s for a day or so here and there. But it's South Texas, man. It ain't going to stick around long.
I'm getting destroyed. I'm getting destroyed on the live feed.
And if it doesn't get cold, we're going to have a very happy winter, because I am not a fan of the cold. I don't even like it in the 40s.
So the only years that it snows is when we have a hurricane. We didn't have one of them. So
yeah,
it's supposed to be a super mild winter.
Thank you, Caleb. Thank you.
But it was. I haven't brought that up in 60 days. But you did.
But I mean, Scott it just got me thinking, because Scott was talking about there's still shrimp, and I mean, hell, who knows? Shrimp are hatching all the time. Maybe they even had another hatch, here in the milder temperatures and stuff. I'm just thinking, like, if we can survive 1 day or 2 days of super cold weather, which is not going to be that big of an impact in terms of fish kills and that type of stuff, there's going to be.
Jesus,
it would be okay for us to skip a week.
The worst fish kill in the history of us happened in only 4 days.
Yes. but it was the temperatures were in the teens.
What's that Dennis Quaid movie where New York freezes over in like 7 minutes?
Yeah, it's gonna be like
Day
that.
after tomorrow. You're. Let's just say, hey, we hope it's going to be a really fun January because the fish are doing cool stuff now. Maybe they'll keep doing it. I tell you what, let's find somebody that's pissed us off on Facebook and talk about them again.
Somebody said day
Anything
after
but this.
tomorrow. The forecast is going to change. Day after tomorrow, it's hitting. Why? Good Lord, why? Look, man, I can't help myself.
Back to your original question.
Yeah.
Though,
Okay. So I'm thinking
you
bait,
guys digress. I'm going to do my best to keep us on track here.
Yes, and my point is, if it somehow stays where we can survive the couple of cold fronts that come in, and it's not too
it will
crazy,
be amazing. It will
the bait
be like
the bait will be nuts. All right, explain it.
And plus, what we're coming off of the freeze that killed all the fish. I mean, it's exactly what we need. I've even said, with the limits that are in place now, with all the 20-inch plus trout that are going back in the water, if we have a mild winter that is a non-eventful winter, we will have the best speckled trout fishing that we've experienced in years. And if we could put 2 more years of that in a row,
here we go. See,
yes, then it's going to be even better. But I mean, look at how the productivity we've had in the last 3 weeks with the water temperature staying, middle 60s, with the tides. The tides are going to stay low because the wintertime is just some of the lowest tides of the years. So it concentrates those fish. It keeps them active. I mean, if it stays like this the next month, all of January, I mean, it'll be the best fishing of the year. Plus, there's no people out there. There's no crowds. And it's the perfect combination.
Yeah, me and Pat have really been hoping that January is going to be what we wanted December to be, because December acted a lot like November did. And November, it did a piss poor impression of October, but it tried.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there's no, I mean, the fish don't have a calendar, I don't think. If there's not a stimulus that makes them switch over to a different pattern, it might just stay good.
So Scott, that's the next thing I wanted to ask you about. Pretend that I didn't do this imaginary jinx. If it does happen that way, then coming out of the winter, more bait, more fish, more healthier bait, healthier fish, etc. I mean, this could be like a don't blame the messenger. This is what I do. I stimulate the conversation. This could be one of those winters that really vaults the whole fishery upward, right?
Yeah, it could have.
You feel like we didn't notice this already, John?
That's just not us four talking. We got thousands of people.
I'll take a whole winter of what we got this week. Lows around 60, highs in the mid 70s. Let's just do that for year round.
They're not calling it El Nino; they're calling it El John. Somebody also just said R.I.P. Come on now. See, now I want apologies from everyone. No one more so than the 3 guys in front of me. When this turns out, we're sitting here in March going, damn, that was awesome. Yeah. April,
you just keep waiting on that. See how that works out.
I'm now convinced at some point last week, John told somebody, it could have been incompetence, that the Aggies were going to handle Miami easily.
I did actually. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say easily. I said, actually, it was with you guys. I said I thought they would win. I didn't know it was going to be.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah.
See what happened?
All right. So, Caleb, you mentioned Pat, and we got a question just about wading shorelines, and there's a related part to it about how the boatless target big trout these days. But I'll get to that in a second. We haven't really dug in on we all talk about wading season and corky season and all that, but specifically the question, Caleb, that's why I'm starting with you, because this is what you're aiming at here in the next month or so. Wading shorelines with lots of bait activity. In other words, what's happening now continues to happen. A lot of bait everywhere. Where do you go? How do you wade those places?
Man, the part of the thing that helps winter fishing is there's not as much bait losing its mind everywhere. So when you find it, you have a better idea of it, right? I mean, you're just gonna stick with what you would do in the fall. It is bait water movement. Is the bait nervous? The stuff like that. I've been seeing a bunch of loons and birds like that showing up with that one front we did have. So there's going to be birds on the water helping you out. But like Scott said, there's still shrimp and stuff everywhere. The majority of the fish are going to stay up on the shoreline because I say the majority. How do I word this without getting myself in trouble? The ones that are already there aren't going to have a lot of reason to leave it. Okay, I'm not saying that the whole bay is on the shoreline, but they're not gonna run off to deeper water. You just keep fishing the fall pattern. Just because it says December 30th or whatever, it's still looking for birds, looking for nervous bait. Nothing's really changed. And there's not an easy answer. It's really not. If there's bait everywhere, it makes fishing tougher. But there should be fish everywhere until we get really cold and things change up. Which
and when you're talking,
Thursday,
and so we're talking specifically big trout without a boat.
Well, I'm going to get to that in a second. I wanted to follow up with you because you saw a lot of bait and had good success in one place and not as much in the other. So the question becomes, he wants to wade shorelines, but there's been a lot of bait in the water. Like, is it just hit and miss? You just throw a dart? Anything else?
Yeah, well, I mean, and whether you're in a boat or walking, the trick to the big trout is patience and stealth and silence and being very sneaky and waiting for that fish to come to you. You're not going to walk down a shoreline. You're not going to be making a lot of noise and walk up on a big speckled trout. They're just one of the most aware fish that are out there. And if you do see one before you cast to it, it will have already seen you a long time ago. So the best advantage of that is just be very patient. Whether you're walking in a shoreline or if you made it out in a boat, the trick to those trout, the big ones, are going slow and being very patient and getting one perfect cast before you spook that fish.
And that's perfect transition to Scott, what I was going to talk to you, the second part of this. And I'll read the whole question. I'll abbreviate where I can, but he said he kind of caught the bug, Scott, of chasing big trout. Had to sell his boat. Family, kids are in that age where he needs to spend more time there. Anyway, he says he's been walking, waiting in the Galveston complex, a little overwhelmed on where he should start targeting large trout since the conditions can be different than Matagorda, which is where he was. Hoping y'all could break it down. He's talking about West Bay. He's talking about East Bay. He's talking about offits and other things. So just your thoughts on that, Scott, but also to Dean's point, and I've said this on the podcast before, whenever I wade fish, I'm not looking for trout. I'm looking for the trout. And that speaks to Dean's point. But what would you say in terms of a big trout and boatless?
And there's just not that many places to wade in these days. And used to be you could go anywhere on the backside of Galveston Island and wade right into West Bay, going through cow pastures. But that's a lot more restrictive now. He did mention in there buying himself a cheap kayak to get a little better access. If that's an option, yeah, definitely do that. That gets you across the intercoastal and into East Bay, and you can fish that south shoreline of East Bay. It's always been good for big trout. The walk-in wading on Galveston Island, there's a couple of coves you can go into by parking and walking in, but with a kayak you could park and then paddle down. That whole shoreline is nothing but coves. And way back, that was the money thing. That's where we all went in the wintertime to go chase big trout. I don't see any reason why West Bay wouldn't still be holding big trout. When I was guiding there, I saw plenty of them up on the grass flats on the north shoreline. So they should be on those traditional Maggie's Cove and places like that on the south side. Just wade slow and deal with the mud, because that is one gumbo, nasty mud area over there. But that's part of why the big trout are in there as well in the winter.
Yeah. Caleb, he mentioned the kayak. I'm glad Scott did, because Matagorda, either one, but especially East Matagorda, if you have a kayak, it's kind of underrated for kayakers, although, they're everywhere. But you can go down those shorelines. You can find and then get out and start waiting, or just get on your stay on your kayak. But looking for the trout when the conditions are right.
East Matagorda is fantastic for kayak guys. They from October to about February, the bulk of the better trout are in kayak range. You can launch off of River Road there, or you can even go around to the south side and get in. And if you had a kayak, you have all kinds of opportunities, because we're all driving to our boat to places where the kayaks are at, and we get there and there's a kayak there, and we're like, oh, boy, we're really glad he got there first. So good for him. He must woke up early to do that.
And some places are more inviting to kayak fishing than others. Some places where you launch and you still have to paddle the long distance to get to primo stuff. The reason I made a living in a kayak here in Aransas Pass for 15 years is we have amazing access where you can launch a kayak wide open and free to the public along that causeway between Aransas Pass and Port Aransas. The flats on both sides of that road, you can be paddling in world-class speckled trout, redfish. And for trout, you're talking about big trout in the wintertime, you paddle 5 minutes and you start fishing. But every place isn't created equally where you have that much access to primo water where you can get in your kayak and start fishing immediately. There's a lot of places. In Matagorda, I mean, there's St. Mary's Slough there and a few other places where you can get in that you can start fishing pretty quick. But there is a vast amount of water that you're just never going to reach in a kayak. So, and Caleb probably knows a little bit more about that. Get-ins and such. It's been a while since I spent that much time in Matagorda. But, I mean, kayaking is a really inexpensive way to cover a lot more distance than walking in.
So, Caleb, what about that and catching the fish? I never did follow up with you on that. Talk about patience, and we're going to have Pat on the show here pretty soon. I was talking to him the other day, and I want to get him on. But when you're looking for that trout, and it kind of ties in with the bait. A lot of times when there was bait, I know there's fish there somewhere. I know something is around. I'm almost happier when I don't just start rolling in with the 16 and 18-inch trout, because I know there's something out there, and it's about the grind and just keep throwing.
Sure. Pat seems to really like it.
Pat will go for hours.
And that's what it is. And that's why, and you can go out there and get lucky and catch a big one, quick and right off the rip. But a lot of people have a lot of time put into it. And that's why, and there's not a secret formula. Maybe there was way back in the good old days when there was just big trout laying up everywhere. But at the end of the day, it is 100% going out, checking to see if this spot is full of 16 inchers or if there's a hammer laying there. It's I would love it. Hey man, if I had a secret formula to say this is what you do and how you go catch a big trout, I wouldn't know any of you chumps. I'd be loaded. I'd have so much money. but it's really not. Go back to what we've said 1,000 times, in that big fish are creatures of opportunity. They don't like to work real hard to eat. So look at how the water's moving. Look at how the bait's moving around. Use the bait and the birds to kind of tell you that. Use the water kind of tell you that. And just kind of put together in your head, if I was a big old, I ain't gonna call it lazy, but a big old trout that's lazy because that's what they do to survive, where would I lay up to get an easy meal? And then you could be walking in a desert between two of those spots and cast and just catch one out there for some reason too. I've done it before. I've put my customers right outside of a drain that I knew big trout were laying at, and I hung back about 60, 75 yards just in a sand flat. No features, nothing. No grass, no shell, nothing. No reason. And I'm just back there just casting, goofing off because I don't want to go up there and catch one of the fish that I think is laying up there for my customer. I caught 229s back to back out there. They didn't catch a big fish up there. It's a weird game, and at the end of the day, it's just putting in the time. That's it.
Scott, what are your thoughts there? Or go ahead.
Well, there's two different scenarios where you're going to see big trout on the flats. I'll make this brief. I don't want to cut in on Scott.
No, you're good. We don't have a time limit.
After the weather turns to crap because El Wano over here has jinxed us. When it gets super cold and in the afternoon, when that super shallow water that's over that sand, it warms up from the side. And those trout, you'll see those trout cruising because it's warmer because they're more comfortable there, not necessarily because they're there feeding. But the situation now, while the water temperature is still in the upper 60s and the 70s, the trout that we've seen on the grass beds are definitely there feeding. So it's kind of two different scenarios when it comes to looking for big trout in the wintertime.
Yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
The thing you got to keep in mind with big trout is they don't eat often. You know, they eat big, they don't eat often. And so you should, like Caleb said, big trout fishing is all about putting in the time, grinding it out, and honestly getting lucky, knowing what you're doing and putting it all together, but also getting lucky. Him standing back there behind his customers and popping 229s. I'm sure the customers appreciated that. And they didn't.
I told them, I swear to God, I'm not doing this on purpose.
That's not that uncommon.
Yeah.
I sent y'all up there, just push them back my way.
Yeah.
We do that all the time here in Aransas Pass.
But yeah, throw bigger baits. You know, I know everybody likes the corkies and stuff, but I've been looking at a lot of these really big glide baits and stuff they're using for bass, and I keep looking at those thinking, man, that sure looks like it'd be really good for big trout.
I traded some emails with our guy from Nomad. I think that's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some big. They've got some big baits. Bass World's full of them, but good God, they want $100, $200 for the damn.
You got to sell a kidney to afford those things.
That's right.
But every time I see one, all I think about is, man, because you can hold them almost perfectly still in the water, and they just kind of neutrally buoyant and just kind of hang there. And throwing one of those over a big old sandy pothole down south and just letting it hover in there, it's got to just drive a big trout crazy.
I'm going to give away Pat's big trout secrets because I'm tired of holding them.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that because it's Christmas, and he'll probably forgive me.
Here comes the secret.
He'll probably forgive me. The way that these big trout guys, Lee Wormkey, Pat, all these folks, the way that they consistently stay on good fish. Pat uses Snapchat. He all of his memories for the past, ever since Snapchat's been alive, and before that is Facebook. And the memories pop up, and he looks and he says, all right, this time of year, I caught big fish in this area. I'm going to go check that area. And he's going to go check it, and he's going to check ones around it, and he's going to check ones that are similar to it. And when he finds them, he's going to start patterning them, and he's going to stay on them all winter. If he gets there and they're not there, okay, they probably moved here, here, here. And that's what these guys are doing. They don't have, there's not some 7th sense or 6th sense or 9th sense or whatever, where they drive out and go, oh, there's going to be a big trout right over there. And now let me clarify. Up here, Middle Coast, right?
Yeah.
Down south in Mansfield, it seems like there's a big trout in every dang pothole. You can go down there and haven't fished forever, and as long as you are in the right acre, you're going to be okay. But I mean, that's what it is. There's no secret weapon, secret formula for this. This is just years and years of patterning them, years and years of just figuring out kind of what they like. Other than that, again, if there was a magic bullet, all 4 of us would sell it every day, and people think we're cool, and nobody would argue with Dean on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before. On some of my marks, when I get into something like that, I put the date. On my mark, and just kind of, let's go see what that is. It's it's February 16th or whatever it is, and it does work, occasionally, or at least, like you said, find something very similar.
Every
to
OG back in the day had a notebook full of notes. I think Mike Mosley had 4 or 5 books worth of it. They all
Yeah.
had it. Our phones do it for us now, not without us even asking it. As long as you posted it somewhere, send a Snapchat somewhere, it's going to be like, hey, this is what you did a year ago.
Yeah.
And it does it for you. It's pretty cool.
All right. From that, big trout, another question on trout that I think is very good that we haven't dug into in quite a while, to be honest. And it's a question I got about, Scott, I'm going to start with you here. I think you and I had this discussion a couple of years ago, if memory serves or thereabouts. You see working birds, you barrel over there, you shut the motor down, you ease in, you catch some trout. Maybe it's good trout, maybe it's not, whatever. But the question is how to approach working birds to keep the bite active, and that's something that we all see, or at least active as long as you can. Where and maybe we're even on the birds, and then here comes somebody whoom, right to the other side and just ruins everything, catches one trout and he's happy. And I'm just like, oh Lord, and most anglers, at least the 4 of us, and a lot of anglers I know, can work with someone else if they're doing it the right way. But let's set that aside for now. Keeping the bite active when the birds are there, and we've all come into some good groups of birds, Scott, where there's some good trout under them.
Being quiet all the way around, using your trolling motor. Don't vary the speeds a whole lot. Don't go in full throttle on the trolling motor. Use the wind. Let the wind help you out a little bit, and stay away from them as far as you can. That's another thing with the wind. Staying back a little bit, cast downwind into it so that you can make longer casts and stay off of them. Just don't go right up in the middle of them. And for God's sakes, don't slam a chest lid or that's usually what happens is somebody steps too hard on the boat. They're excited. They hooked a fish. They hop down off the front deck down to the bottom part. And when their feet land, it sounds like an elephant landed in there. And they'll shut down a bite real quick. And so it's all about stealth, and that's pretty much the only part of it. I mean,
well, you can kind of see which direction they might be moving to, and that's.
You're going to watch the birds, and you're going to see what they're doing. If the birds quit working, but they're still around, they're just swimming, just ease along there with those birds, because the birds, for whatever reason, they know those fish are underneath them, and they'll just sit there on the water and not fly up at all, waiting for them to push the bait back to the top, and they'll hang out. And there have been times where I've seen a group of birds just sitting on the water as I was running by. They weren't working. Shut down, eased over with a trolling motor, start catching fish.
You'll see them hop and look, even if they're just sitting there doing nothing, and then one just hops and goes 10 feet in a direction. He saw something. They're just sitting there waiting to see the school push up a shrimp again. He saw a shrimp hop over there or something and jump. So that kind of gives you an idea of where they're at. And that's what, and we see that a lot, particularly on the pressured fish that we get in Matagorda, where whenever you get close and those fish feel that boat at all, it's not, we talk trash about the birds because you feel like the birds see you coming and set down and don't want to help you. The fish are just going down and they're not pushing bait to the birds anymore. The birds are cussing you too.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what they're doing, is waiting on them to pop up. We were fishing redfish last week, and if there was birds sitting on the water, and some of my water cleared up really nice, where like Jamaica clear, where I could see everything. And I drifted probably quarter mile, half a mile, and it was between quarter and a half. Let's say a third of a mile. And the water was really clear. Everywhere there was birds sitting, there's redfish, just singles, just cruising all around. And then you get 100-yard stretch with no birds, there wasn't a piece of life. And then there was other birds sitting up there. And so like Scott was saying, those birds, they know those fish are underneath them.
They're kind of prancing is what they're doing. They kind of just pop a little bit, not even fly, just kind of hop up. Yeah.
Oh, these were Pixar lazy ass seagull birds just sitting there doing nothing. But there was fish under them while they were sitting there doing nothing. And the same thing in the bay. If there's not birds actively working, but you see birds sitting around, just go drift through them real quiet. Don't get in a big rush. Just go drift through them and probably be all right.
Dean?
The one thing that Scott said, that don't get excited. People see the birds and they get in a hurry. They get super excited. That's why they run too close to them. Hang back. A lot of times those birds are going to be, the fish underneath them are moving and the birds are moving with them. Figure out which direction that they're going. Try to get beside them. Don't get in front of them where the school comes to your boat and then you mess everything up. It's just like tailing reds. They're going to keep doing what they're doing until you mess it up. So if you can remain patient. But I mean, I've seen people do it so many times. They see them, they run straight into them, and they're the ones that mess it up. Be patient, go slow, and work your way in there. Try to figure out which way they're going. But people do get excited. I see it so many times when they see those birds. Man, here they come. Here they come, full speed, full throttle, run into them.
I thought you had something, Caleb. Go
Also,
ahead.
do yourself a favor and don't throw top waters when the birds are working like that. I mean, I know it's fun and it's
you don't have to.
it's enticing to go ahead and throw a top water in there, but your chances of tangling up on one of them birds and being out of the game for a few minutes is pretty high.
Yeah,
it's exciting though.
I don't know about that. Not for the bird. Not for the bird. It's not. The other thing I see a lot, and I was wondering if you guys were going to mention it, when you are in them, and maybe they kind of slide away, and you're still fishing or whatever. Don't start the big motor. Don't start the big motor. You know, they're still around, Caleb. They're still around somewhere. They might be moving away, but there's always where the fish are. There's always some on the periphery, and when you start the big motor, it just shoots them all out.
Yeah, no, I don't even like to troll upwind and get hole slap. I have to do it from time to time, but 15 years ago, you could run up in the middle of those birds and they'd beat the gel coat off of your boat and the fish didn't care. It's not like that anymore. I shut down probably 3, 4, 5 casts away. Just I try to get the wind perfectly pushing me to those birds, and I get on my trolling motor. And all I'm doing is steering the boat with it up, about 3 or whatever, and just roll up to them. And then when I can get those birds on the end of my guy's cast, I'm going to try to chill. There's sometimes the birds are sitting pretty still and I can put my power poles down and just keep them there. Other times those birds are moving. And so I'm like, kind of cat and mousing it with my boat where I don't want to get up to them and then follow them. I just want to see which way they're trending and just try to get the most cast possible. I've given up on the idea of just staying on them and catching a bunch of fish because, again, the fish are spooky, the schools are fast. It's more of how can I get the most amount of cast in the next 5 minutes on these birds. I've had birds where I followed them from Live Oak all the way to the South Shoreline. I fished them for 3.5 hours, but most of the time you're going to get 5 minutes on this group of birds and it's time to go. So, but yeah, quiet and as unintrusive as possible is the name of the game with those guys.
I've had a few times, and it's been a few years, so maybe it speaks to what Caleb was talking about, Scott. I've had a few times where it didn't matter sometimes. Like they were not going to go anywhere. You could have dropped a cooler lid or something, and they were just so intensely eating. There was just such a frenzy, that you were just, they weren't going anywhere no matter what. But I guess those days are kind of gone now. They're so conditioned.
Yeah, there's just too many boats out there. One of the funniest ones I ever saw was in East Bay in Galveston. We had birds working up at the Anahuac side on the shoreline, and there was several of us in there. This was before trolling motors, and we were just spinning around and getting where we could drift and try to intersect with the schools, and it was all good. I mean, everybody was puttering around on idle, and this one guy pulls up there, and they did that gigantic throw of the anchor. It looks like an Olympic sport. They're spinning around there and just slung the damn anchor and shut down the whole entire cove. I mean, for miles in every direction, there was no birds working. There was nothing left. But, patience is the key. Quiet is the key. Use your head. Kick back and watch what's going on before you even go into it.
Yeah. All right, man. Fun show. I do want to mention this because I love these three dudes in front of me. It is December 23rd. If you're looking for that one big gift for that special someone, he or she, get a hold of Captain Dean and Captain Scott and Captain Caleb, and and see if you can get a little stocking stuffer. I know there's even some I guess not gift cards, but certificates that you guys can probably email them. They can print it out. So if they got that last minute gift, go ahead.
I just recorded a video for a couple young men whose parents bought them a trip through me.
Oh, nice.
And so they're going to play that for them.
What'd you say? You got to put some jelly on it. Hey there, this is Captain Scott. No,
yeah. Well,
I am so
Merry
looking
Christmas
forward to this.
Merry Christmas, and told them that they had some great parents. They're regular listeners, so I can't really say much on here.
Okay, okay.
Throwing the surprise.
Some jelly on it. I like that one.
Yeah, you got to put some jelly on it, man. Hello there. This is Captain Scott. No, I am so looking forward to this trip that your parents got you. We're going to do this and we're going to do that, and et cetera, et cetera. But no, seriously, these guys are fantastic. And so let's go ahead, Caleb.
I can see those kids more over here like Santa Claus is real.
It's real. I'm going fishing with Santa. It's the best day ever.
He has a sleigh pulled by 9 mini Australian shepherds.
Boy, you're taking all the shots. You got the Australian shepherds in there. You got
Nobody's safe. I'm going. It's a Dean mode today, baby.
That's right.
Stay off the internet. So
hey, at least for the next few days, that brutal cold front is not coming. Dean, I'll start with you here. You're shaking your head.
You just won't quit.
It just doesn't end. What would you do? A lot of people are going to be like myself, heading down to their favorite spot after Christmas.
I mean, it's as good as it gets. The water temperature is absolutely perfect. I mean, we're still out in shorts and barefoot on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
It is nice. Very few people, but our tides are running a little bit lower. I mean, we've had some high tides that have crept up pretty damn good. But the trick right now, I mean, even though if you're having a normal low tide, if the tide is running normally low, just because it comes in for a short time, I don't go chasing fish up high on those flats. I stay around where they were last seen, where they're going to be during the low tide, because they're just not running. They're not covering a lot of area this time of year. So if you've had low tides for 2 or 3 days, and then you get one that pushes up real big, I'm still fishing in the same spots. I'm going to go back to where it was when those tides were low, because I don't find that those fish really make a big move in 10 or 12 hours because the tide changed.
Scott, anything to add there? Because that's good advice right there about, go to where they were this time of year with the water temps.
Yeah, most of mine have been within 100 yards of a channel or a drop off that's significant. They're up on the flats. Don't get me wrong. They're up there tailing, they're doing their thing, but they're not very far away from the safety of some deeper water.
Caleb?
My guys, my dudes have been up on flats with no deep water in sight. But, the 2-spotted redfish primarily. There's been a couple with some extra spots, but man, I mean, nothing fancy. It's we get tired of repeating ourselves, but I like repeating that fishing's fun right now.
Yeah, this is a good time to do that.
It makes anybody look awesome. Hell, I posted a fishing picture last week. It was cool.
Look at you. Well, good deal, man. And I do sincerely mean it. What a great year from the Bite Me community, the Bite Me listeners. I sent you guys some of the numbers that we had for this year. They were freaking off the charts. 300 and something thousand downloads, and then YouTube and everything else. And we owe it certainly to the 3 guys in front of me, but the listeners that are just loyal and fun and interactive. So sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, have a very, very good Christmas. Merry Christmas. Somebody just texted looking for, I think it was Mike Jones texted, looking forward to a new fishing year. We all are. So you guys just have know that we have the appreciation for you. Book my guys in front of me, and you guys catch them up. We'll talk to you next time.
Hey, Dean, if you solve world hunger, would you tell no one?
Let them starve.